Good morning everyone, welcome to Sunday Meal Prep Live, and today I'm going to give an update on my first week of trying to get back into things, tracking and where my body composition is heading, and just touch more a little on that, and just a little more about what I do as a coach. So today's meal prep, I will be cooking Mexican mince. That will be our meals, our dinners this week, because I've got my son home, so I want something that I can cook in bulk, and that will get us through to Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday will be fish and chips, steak and chips, and then, you know, an ad hoc meal. I had run out of meatballs, so I am rolling meatballs for my lunch, because I'm doing meatballs and fruit for lunch at the moment. I'm really trying to, as from this coming week, dial down on the starches, because I just need to get my digestion settled after Christmas with lots of sourdough bread and things like that that I don't normally eat, because I know it does slow down my digestion. So the meatballs that I'm rolling, really fucking simple. The thing with meatballs is you can flavor them to whatever you want. I have in my macro manipulation meals guide that I have for all of my clients, where we have a system where you pick your protein, you pick your flavor profile, and then you piece your carbs and fats with it. And part of that is all different ways you can spice up meatballs, because they are so easy to do. I like a fairly traditional one, and then from this, because I'm doing meatballs for the freezer for lunch, I'm doing homemade hamburgers tonight. It's the last of my bread starches before I head into next week and really clean things up for me. So we're just going to have homemade hamburgers. I'll have sourdough bread and pineapple and tomato and lettuce, lots of yummy things. But I am making the patties from these meatballs. So I've kept the meatball plate profile fairly plain this week, so I could do the hamburger patties as well. So all I've done in this is lots of salt, always lots of salt. I'm using fresh mince that hasn't been frozen down yet. I find they roll and hold together better when you do that. So particularly for the burgers tonight, they'll stick together better with the meat not being frozen. So I have got a fresh batch of ground beef here. I've got ground beef, 90% beef, 10% fat. And then I have just added Dijon mustard, Worcestershire sauce, lots of salt, cumin, ground coriander. There's something else in there that I normally add. Mustard. No, that's it. That's all. Oh, sorry. Garlic and onion powder. Now you can chop up fresh onion and garlic and do it, but it's just fiddly, so I've just gone to using powder, and it just makes it really easy. So just really mixed that through the meat, like really pushed it through the meat, gave it a good squeeze, like get your hands in there. And now I'm just weighing out each meatball, so the portions will be right for Dean and I when we do our meals. You can do them whatever size you like. Just weigh out each meatball. You can see I'm doing that. I've got my scale here, and that's what I'm doing. I'm taking the meat from the bowl, popping it on the scale, and then rolling. A trick to rolling meatballs is you really want to press in as you roll them, and roll them for a little bit to really squash the meat together and make them nice and smooth like this, and then they hold together better. So that's what I'm doing here, and then I'll just cook up some Dean on some sweet potato. I'll be doing more fruit. He'll have sweet potato for lunches, which is fine. So I'll just do up some sweet potato in the air fryer for him, and he has fruit and sweet potato. I'm just going to back off on the sweet potato at the moment and just stick to fruits. So I'm having watermelon and nectarine with my meatballs at lunch. At the moment in the mornings I'm having yogurt and a boiled egg to help boost my protein and fats, because I found my breakfast has been a bit light in fats. So boost that with an adrenal cocktail. Then I have a coffee for morning tea and my carrot salad. Then I'll have meatballs and fruit for lunch. I have my pre-training meal, and then I'll have Mexican mince and rice for dinner with a couple of squares of chocolate after dinner, because I love it. It helps bring my fats up. My fats have been pretty low of late, and I want to get them back up again. So this week was about establishing, I did a bit of a live around establishing, you know, what calories I really am on now, because my calories got very low with lack of movement, obviously. So I've used my calculator that I'm building with Dean, who he is working on that today, our body composition and 1 Rep Max calculator that makes working out what your body is doing with muscle mass and body fat, how many calories to eat and the best macros, and it's all been tailored. There's so many formulas out there. This one has been tailored to 40 plus women that are looking to change their body, reduce some body fat, build the muscle, and that are active in the gym. So it's been built around that, plus my own personal tweaks around proteins and fats and maximums and minimums and things like that. And it's all been rolled into one calculator, which is going to be amazing for women to actually be able to track their body fat and muscle mass. Because one of the problems I find with people trying to diet and do this and do that, it's a slow process. So week to week, they start freaking out because the only movement they can see is in a scale. They can't see their muscle mass going up. They can't see their body fat coming down. So then they self-sabotage when they see the scale go up. And the scale is not a good indicator of am I building muscle mass and am I dropping body fat. It is a tool that we need, but certainly not a week-to-week emotional reaction there. We want to be able to take the weekly weight and put in some calculations to work out our body fat and our muscle mass and track the trends over time, not this week-to-week business. So for me, I pulled back my activity. So normally I would choose highly active, but because my steps have been a little bit lower over Christmas, normally I'm 10 to 12 and I've probably been more like 8 to 10. So my step count isn't quite back to where it was just because I've been on holidays and enjoying some rest. And my intensity is only just coming back into training. So it's just finding where my body is at the moment. So I put my activity level as moderate instead of, so active instead of highly active. And my calories have come out at 2150. Now, normally I'd be around 2350. So I'm starting off with 2150. So this week was about just getting back into some good habits after some time over Christmas of different eating and that. So kind of just getting my food back to normal. I realised my sodium was really quite low. I wasn't having as much salt with my meals and stuff, so I started increasing my sodium, and just my general hydration wasn't great, so I started there as well as the 2150 calories. So my weight this week has gone up again, but when I look at my muscle mass also went up. Body fat went up a little bit, but at the moment, because I've added in so much, like a lot more salt and hydration, that's going to have an effect. And when I actually look at photos, I'm starting to see, like, you know, I can do this and go, I can see muscles again. Whereas before I couldn't. So I can tell that my muscle mass is coming back, and a lot of that hydration and salt and creatine is all going back into my muscles and not necessarily body fat. So I am not going to just for 1 week go, oh my God, my body fat went up. I think it was like 0.3%. And my muscle went up by 200 grams. So I am not going to jump and emotionally react to that. I'm just going to go, yeah, my body is now establishing a point. And I need to be really consistent and hitting 2150 calories, which is what my next focus is this week, just getting back to hitting those calories consistently and those macros. It's fairly good this week, but there was a few, you know, ups and downs. So I will, this week, I've got my meal plan ready. It's really back to normal routine, and I'm going to start hitting them bang on. Now I need 2 weeks, minimum 2 to 3 weeks of hitting my calories and macros bang on, not playing with my sodium, not playing with my water hydration, anything like that. Just consistency at that 2150 macros to see where I come out and look at the trend over time. Now, if my weight continues to trend up over, say, 2 to 4 weeks, it's trending up with my body, with increases in body fat consistently, then I'm going to be going, okay, 2150 is probably too much for me at the moment. I'm feeling very full. My measurements have gone up, but again, that can be a lot of water retention. So I am feeling very full, but I'm feeling a lot more muscular, so I'm not panicking yet. And then I'll just keep tracking from here, and I'll get a good 2 to 3, maybe even 4 weeks underneath me of hitting those macros, being consistent with sodium, hydration, sleep. Sleep is another thing that will affect the scale. If I don't get enough sleep, the scale goes up. So just try and stay super consistent with all of that to find the trend. The truth is in the data, and the data will always make, if you can learn to trust the data and know what data to use and how to use it properly, you actually won't panic. This week to week mindset of, oh my God, the scale's up, oh my God, the scale's down, oh my, like you're on this emotional roller coaster because you've got nothing to trust. You can't see anything. And when we look at the data, when we start talking about your actual body composition, yes, the scale weight is used to work that out, but so are your body measurements. We also look at photos and things like that. When you actually use that data properly and look at the trends over time, you will see what your body is doing. Your job is to stay consistent. Seriously, consistency, data equals your answer. And then when I get my answer in 2 to 3 weeks of, am I maintaining, going up or going down, I will make an adjustment then. Because I really don't know what my baseline is at the moment after losing all that muscle, gaining additional body fat, training intensity being different, and the stress my body went through. So I went back into a mild adrenal fatigue as well because of the physical stress that my body went through with all that pain and being left. And I can tell you now, when you're left not walking, I thought I'd never train again. I was wondering if I'd ever even walk properly again, or if I was going to be one of these people that was always, oh, my back, and never able to do anything. Like, it really was a scary time when this doctor wasn't diagnosing me or letting me get the scans. So that's a lot of stress for someone to go through, and it affects your metabolism. Stress affects your metabolism, absolutely, 100%. So when I see these, 40 plus women that have given away everything to raising a family and their careers and never prioritize themselves, and their bodies are super stressed, and then they go, but I can't lose the body fat and I can't grow muscle. Well, fuck yeah. Look how stressed out you are. You're not getting enough sleep. You're not fueling your body properly. You're constantly worrying about everything. You've got this brain fog that makes it even fucking worse, because you can't think right, you make mistakes, it puts you behind the 8 ball. It just adds and adds and adds to your stress load. You got to get that shit under control. Otherwise, stress is the biggest catabolic element to muscle mass. And what I mean by that is stress eats muscle, pretty much. It doesn't just prevent you from building muscle, it also eats away at it. So going through that time, I need to establish my calories. If I hadn't been through all of that, and I could, maybe just been on holidays or whatever, I could like just go back to my normal macros and be all right. But I can't do that. So I'm back at the beginning where, whether I like it or not, even though my calculator on a metabolically healthy body, that calculator is very accurate. If someone uses that and then tracks, and they find they're gaining weight, that's because they are metabolically compromised. And that tells us, hang on, we've got some optimization to do first. Yes, we need to bring your calories back to meet where your body is maintaining, but that's telling us, like, look at other things. What are your body temperatures like? What is your stress like? Do we need to look at your gut? There's all sorts of things that we can look at there, because it's telling us that your body is not metabolically healthy to be burning those calories. And the fact is that I might do this 2150 for a couple of weeks and continue to gain, and it's not all muscle, and I'm going to have to drop my calories back and accept, okay, I'm still not metabolically as sound and as robust as I need to be eating those calories. So that would tell me not going back into a deficit straight away, because I need to be metabolically sound. So I want to be meeting at least those calories and not gaining weight. But I want to get back to the 2350 calories, that my training intensity, because I know that that was a really healthy baseline for me. So that's what I'm aiming for. And maybe I do need to pull back calories a little bit in the beginning. But time will tell, and I'm not going to get emotionally attached to that scale number. So that's where I am at. Measurements are up a little bit, scale is up a little bit, but there has been muscle mass increase. Yes, there's been a little bit of fat increase in that, but again, I'm not looking week to week. And with that, I did a lot of hydration and sodium correcting, and I brought my creatine back in more regularly. I was a bit haphazard with my supplements over the Christmas period. So all of that is adding to that gain. So we just need to give it another couple of weeks and see where we're at. Now, this is the process I do with women. So, you know, if you're in the gym and your body is not changing, 100% you are not doing something right. It is, yes, perimenopause plays a role, but perimenopause, when perimenopause is playing a role, it's because you're not metabolically healthy, not because it's perimenopause. Perimenopause is just exacerbated when you're metabolically compromised. So you need to do some optimization work there. So I do this whole process with women. We establish, where are you? What is your body composition now? Where do you want to go? Once we have done that, we optimize. That is finding your caloric base over a few weeks and ensuring that that is correct. Optimizing the type of nutrients going into your body, so we're covering any nutrient gaps that you may be having, because I guarantee if you've lived on salads, you know, broccoli, all this sort of stuff that you think, you know, brown rice that you all think is very, very healthy for you, nuts and seeds, you are lacking nutrients because that stuff is not bioavailable to your body as others. So we do some rectification there. Or it could be, you could be someone who's lived on a lot of processed foods. You'll be lacking in nutrients there. So it's about what we put into our body. Work on our nutrition timing, so we take our body out of any stress reaction through not fueling after sleeping all night, or going into training, lacking energy and fuel, not having enough fuel for recovery, all those sorts of things. So we look at nutrition timing and balanced meals. That's all part of the optimization. We then dig into your training and optimize that. So there's a quadrant. So 4 aspects of training that you need to be hitting. One is execution. What is your form like? Doesn't matter how long you've been training and what you're lifting, what is your form like? Everyone can do with form correction. Even I get it now. As your body changes and your strength changes and your muscles change, funky little habits creep in. But if you aren't getting any gains or changes in your muscle mass in the gym, it's likely that your form needs some sort of correction. Whether you think so or not, I can guarantee you there's not many women that have come into my program that I haven't had to do some sort of form correction. So execution, form. Then we look at, are you progressing in your lifts? So we track your lifts and get you and structure it in a way that you can visually progress every week. You can see whether you're progressing or not. Then we look at intensity. So once your form's good and you're training in a way that can progress, we make sure that your intensity is good, because really it's the last 2 or 3 reps that count. It's the mechanical tension, and most women, you just don't realize how strong you are. You think you are, but I can guarantee you, if I watched a video of yours, I'd go, yeah, you've got capacity to lift more. Or, you know, so many women come into my program and you go, okay, you're going to start off with, you know, if they've never lifted before, I can go, you're going to do a 40 or 50 kilo deadlift, and their eyes are like, oh my God, you're kidding. Well, yeah, form will do that. Once you're progressing, we'll get it up very quickly. I've got a lady that started with me in September, cycled lots, knew she needed to grow muscle. She's a doctor, she's aware of all of this, and she's like, right, I need to get into strength training as preventative. So I told her about, you know, deadlift 40, 50 kilos. She was like, no way. That was late September. She just recently did a deadlift for reps at 75 kilos, more than what her partner weighs, in just a matter of months. You are stronger than what you realize. And then recovery. How is your training sets and frequency and volume set up for you to recover? And that is a nuanced thing. I can put some ladies on an upper-lower split, and I can put other ladies on an upper-lower split, and their muscle mass starts going backwards. They're not recovering. So you need to make sure that you're recovering. So the nutrition and the training optimization happens. So we establish, we optimize, and then once we've got all those little pieces working out, we then go, right, what is the periodization process that we need to go through to meet your goal, which is what we did in Establish. Where are you now? Where do you want to go? Optimize, now move towards your goal. And for some ladies, they only have a little bit of body fat to lose, and it's mainly muscle gains they need, so we'll put them in a recomposition phase. Some ladies have got above a 30% body fat, and we want to bring that down pretty quickly, because below 25 to 30% is considered healthy. I would argue it's actually more like the 25% mark than the 30. But for health reasons, we want to get that body fat down pretty quickly. So we would put you into a deficit phase whilst continuing to drive muscle mass, or at a minimum, maintain muscle mass. So if you're going to diet, you need to diet in a way that maintains your muscle mass and you hold on to every little bit that you have. Usually you're dieting, and your dieting is that extreme, your structures aren't right, your recovery's not right, your training's not right, and you actually just lose muscle mass, which kind of is counterproductive. So we set a nutritional phase based on what your goals are. And there may be multiple phases. So most women will probably go through, if you're, for example, if you're one of those typical skinny fat ladies, that was me, I was skinny fat, you're skinny fat, you're in the gym, doing all this random stuff, you're eating what you think is right and your body's not changing. You might need to go through a little bit of a deficit phase first, just to bring the body fat down a little bit, or maybe you want to push recomp. But basically you will go through a couple of phases of, deficit and pushing muscle mass, and then maybe tidying up with another short deficit in there, depending on how lean you want to actually look. So it can look like a few different phases of, deficits, recomp, build. Not many women that come and coach with me, particularly if you're not getting results in the gym, do we need to go to a build. However, if you're someone who's more experienced with training, doing a build in the right manner is super important. People go, oh, build, I can eat lots more food. You actually only want to eat in a very, very, very mild surplus, and just because you've got more food doesn't mean that you shouldn't be accurate still, because it's still so easy to go, you're already eating in a surplus, and then you start being not accurate, and all of a sudden your surplus becomes a lot larger. What happens in a build is you're building muscle, yes, but what you're trying to create the maximum muscle gains that you can get. And the only way you can do that is so for me now, pretty much a build process is all my body will respond to build muscle mass when it's healthy. So I need to go into a surplus to make sure I'm maximizing those gains, and you know that by you've maximized your muscle gain, that now the surplus food is turning into a slight increase in body fat. And if you've always got a very slight increase in body fat, you know that you're fueling yourself, provided your training's right. So a build process is an advanced method. So if your training is right, you will go through, so I'm just doing that last one. Yes, you want to be really accurate, because you don't want to be going in too far of a surplus, because then what happens is you've got way too much body fat to diet off, and then because you have to do an extended period of dieting or harder dieting, you lose some of that muscle. It's counterproductive. So many mistakes I see in a build is just people not being accurate. Track your fucking food while you're trying to get to where you want to go, people. Like, I know there are so many out there that go, I don't want to do it, it feels restrictive, it's time consuming. It's a skill. Yes, you have to spend time learning how to track, but you learn what your body likes. Like, I have learned that I can't train without some sort of easy to digest starch and simple carbohydrate. So I've tried the fruit, berries, honey, yogurt, that sort of thing before training. It's not enough. For me, an easy to digest carb is rice or potatoes, and I particularly like sweet food. So I go down the pathway of rice and do like the rice pudding or the creamed rice, something like that. So I have actually learned that that's better for me. I also know that if I eat a lot of starches at lunch, I just want to lay down and have a nap. That's me. Like there's so much you can learn about your body from tracking. It's not just about food. It's not just about calories, but it is also about being accurate. So if you get your steps accurate, you consistently make it to the gym, and you consistently meet your caloric intake that you're meant to be meeting, then it's simply a matter of going, am I reaching my goals or not? Which direction am I going up or am I going down? And then you make that tweak with either increasing steps, decreasing steps, increasing food, decreasing food. It becomes very, very, very clear when you use data. And part of the data is body fat, muscle mass, weekly average weight, measurements, photos, tracking your food and your steps, tracking your food and your activity. So track your training. Are you progressing? Track your steps and just get a bit consistent with it. Don't do 3,000 one day and fucking 15,000 another day and go, woohoo, you know, okay, that averages out. It's actually really not good for your body to do 3,000 steps in a day. The odd day, fine, when you're resting, recuperating, yeah, sure. But you just want that consistent daily movement. And if you get into a life, and this is the thing, it's a lifestyle. Everything I do facilitates my body to live the life I want to live. Riding. Dean and I love going riding. So for me to be on that bike, I don't want to have brain fog and be feeling lethargic because I'm sitting on the back of that bike and he has a pillion seat like this. There is no back, nothing. I am pretty out there. I've got to be on the ball. I am known as a very, very good pillion because I think it's because I ride myself. You've got to ride with the bike. You can't just sit there like a sack. Unless you've got a backrest and you're on a big cruiser and all the rest of it. You can't just sit there like that. So if we want to enjoy riding, I need to be strong, and I'll explain that one in a minute. But two, I don't want to be feeling tired, lethargic, brain fog, because you could kind of fall asleep on the back. They go, oh, you know, and slip off or whatever. And you don't want to be doing that. But going up that mountain, going up that range on the weekend, going up, right? I didn't want to fall off the back. We're going up like this, right? So what do I need to do? I was down, holding on. It was like a leg curl. I had my feet pressed into the saddlebags on the side, so my heels pressed into the back. They were tucked up. I was squatted down, leaning forward. It was like I was in a constant leg curl going up that mountain. Coming down, what was I doing? Well, we're coming down. So, you know, I can't lean forward and fall on top of Dean, so I've got to lean back a little bit and I've got to push against that. So again, as we're going down, I'm trying to dig my feet into those pedals. I was like in a constant squat movement, trying to push myself out of the bottom of a squat. I know it sounds weird, but that strength and that movement in training allows me to actually have really enjoyable rides. It does. I don't know how else to explain, but everything I do in the way I live, whether it's nutrition because I've got energy all the time and I don't have to have a nap in the afternoon, or whether it's because I've got strength, or whether it's because, you know, my sleep isn't constantly disrupted through perimenopause symptoms. I've got more energy. I can think clearer. My business grows better because I have discipline. I can think straight. I can see clearly what I want. Health and fitness is the foundation of a successful life. Absolutely. And it certainly is a way of living. And I just love living like this. I just love feeling good. And I don't know how else to tell you that. But if you either know you need to train and want to get into the gym, or you're in the gym and your body's not changing, you're not doing a lot of the steps. You've got all this piecemeal information from Instagram and you're not putting it together in the right system and the right way to benefit for you. But I guarantee you, when you do and you go through that process of establish, optimize, periodize, sustain, because that's the last piece of the puzzle. How do you sustain it on the other end? Well, I don't need to go through sustain because I know how to do that. The fact that I didn't gain a fuck ton of weight when I didn't walk for 5 months is testament to that. I went to Europe for 4 weeks, ate things I loved, walked lots, all the rest of it, never gained any weight because I know how to manage myself and sustain without missing out. We ate gelato every day. Every day. I loved it. And I was able to sustain. So that's the last piece of the puzzle, which you get how to sustain yourself when you know and understand your body, and you get that from the data. And it's as simple as that. Start getting obsessed with the data, because the data will show you what your body is doing. Right now, you're in there doing random shit, watching Instagram, getting all these tips, thinking it's a specific program or a meal plan or a set of macros, specific amount of calories that's going to do it for you, and it's not. It's about taking those pieces of information and applying it to you in the right sequence to optimize your body. Losing fat and gaining muscle is an optimization process. It's a luxury for your body, and if it feels like it's not getting everything it needs and is in stress from perimenopause or overtraining or whatever it is that's not quite right for you, your body is not going to let go of fat, because that is its safety mechanism in times of famine and stress, and like biologically, if we look back where we've come from, it's a safety mechanism. And muscle mass is expensive to hold on to. So if you don't have the stimulus and you don't have the nutrients and you don't have the calorie energy going in, that's the first thing your body will let drop. It will literally let your muscle mass drop. I've watched ladies, some of my functional ladies that have come in, that I've had to go, your body is in so much stress and we've got a gut issue and some cortisol issues and some thyroid issues to sort out. You need to stop training. Okay, they just need to go through a period of time where they stop training and they focus on some breath work and some yoga and just getting 10,000 steps a day. Their muscle mass increases. Now that's unique. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be training. What I'm saying is we optimize their body and their natural muscle mass starts coming back. Their quality of muscle starts coming back. That does stop at a certain point, and then you need to add the stimulus of training, obviously, to continue that process. But we literally watch over a couple of months their muscle mass starting to go up again, and they're like, what? But I'm not training and my muscle mass is going back up. Yeah, because your body's now fucking optimal. You've covered the nutrition gaps. You've removed the stress. If you truly want to change your body, you have to be optimal. All these wonderful Instagram bodies that are out there, if they are a fantastic body that feels good too, not these bodies where they've got hair falling out, they're always complaining about cramps, their periods are horrendous, they're exhausted all the time. Not those ones. The ones that have amazing bodies that just feel amazing is because they know to optimize their body. And when you live in optimal health, you can grow muscle, lose fat, stay lean, and it flows onto everything else in your life. And that is why I am so obsessed with this way of living. It is just a way of living. Just like going out every weekend, drinking every weekend, not thinking about the food you eat and just eating what's put in front of you just because it's there and available and you don't want to offend someone. That's a way of living too. I don't choose that way of living. I don't drink often. I do drink sometimes, not all the time. I don't drink often. I think about my food. I adapt with what's put in front of me. I adapt my days around it if I know I'm going to be socializing. Training and getting organized for the week, doing my prep, it is just a priority. It's just something that gets done regardless of how I'm feeling in the moment, because the big picture is I feel fucking fantastic when I do it. There are moments where I don't, but big picture overall, I feel fucking phenomenal. It makes my business better. It makes me a better mum. It makes me a better partner. It just makes everything in life better. So if you are not getting where you want to be with your body composition, it is because you are not optimal in the way you are living or in your health. There are missing pieces and you need to go through that optimization process first. And if you need help with that, I have the absolute process that not only will optimize your body, but it will teach you about your body. So when you walk away from this, you are not chained to a meal plan. You are not chained to a training program that only works. You actually know how to adapt and sustain on the other side, and then apply the principles to any time in life. I am back to applying the very basic principles because of my back injury and where I ended up after 5 months. So what I'm doing, rather than panicking, rather than laying on that couch when I couldn't walk going, oh my God, what's going to happen to my body? I'm going to turn into a big fat blimp and blah, blah, blah. I never worried about any of that. When we went away to Europe, I never once thought about, oh my God, I'm going to come back. I need to diet down really hard so I can put on weight when I'm away, because I put on weight every time I go on holidays. I don't worry about any of that anymore. But going through the process in the right order and knowing how to apply it and learning your own body. Like I use that example of, I know to train, I need starches before I train, easy to digest starches, because the intensity requires that of me. But not everyone is like that, okay? So you learn your own body through trial and error and applying certain principles. Yes, that worked. Did I feel better? Didn't I? But you're only changing certain things and everything else stays consistent, so you can clearly see. When you get to the end of this process, you get to sustain and you get to go and do that. Now, I've got some ladies that have been with me for years because they just love being in a coaching container. And let's face it, building muscle is always an ongoing process. If you want that real cut look, it does take a couple of years to build significant muscle for that look. So I've got ladies that stay with me for years, but I know that they can actually do it in their own. They're just getting specialized guidance now, but they have all the foundations to maintain themselves. Absolutely. 6 months. If you went, I am going to dedicate 6 months to learning and doing a process so I can continue on down the track, it is an education for life. And if you want help with that, DM me, reach out. I'm always happy just to have a general chat in the DMs, give you some more ideas of what it might look like specifically for you and whether that suits you or not. Anyway, enjoy your Sunday, everyone. I am going to finish my meal prep and then I'm off to get my nails done before I am actually back to client work, business, everything for 2026 tomorrow, which is super exciting. Keep your eyes out. There's going to be a lot more coming out about the body composition calculator that tells you exactly what to do with your body fat, your muscle mass, and working on 1 rep max. And it's all in the one little app that's going to be available for my clients so they can utilize that themselves.